Salute, welcome to this video lesson on 432 and 433.1 of De Bello Gallico. So, dum ea geruntur, while those things are being done, which is in reference to Caesar's preparations to face the dangers he has where he suspects the Brits are about to attack. Okay, then we go into an ablative absolute. Legione ex consuetudine una frumentatum missa. With one legion having been sent out according to custom, ex consuetudine. Note, by the way, from custom is how we might normally translate that, but ex often sounds good in English in certain idioms like this to be translated according to. So from custom, according to custom, with one legion having been sent out. Now, frumentatum is an accusative supine that shows purpose, having been sent out to get grain, frumentatum. Notice it's not frumentum, this is not the noun, but this is the supine of the verb, and the verb is here, this frumentor, frumentari, which is a deponent verb. Okay, so with one legion, according to custom, having been sent out to get grain, quae appellabatur septima, a legion which was called the seventh, and notice quae is feminine because legio, as also cohors and centuria, the various words for parts of an army, is a feminine noun. The legion which was called the seventh, and just as a reminder, on the eagle pole for each legion, you would have the Roman numerals of that legion. So this would have had the silver eagle and then the Roman numeral for 7 on the standard. Nequula ad id tempus belli consuspicione interposita, nor with any suspicion of war having interposed, having come in the midst, having come in the meantime, up till that time, ad id tempus. Okay, now that ablative absolute there, the ulla through interposita, that basically is a way of saying, and, you know, when Caesar hadn't heard of any suspicion of war in the meantime, right? But literally again, nor with any suspicion of war up till that time having been interposed, having been sort of brought into the midst, right? Cum pars hominum in agris remaneret, when part of the people were remaining in the fields, pars etiam in castra vintitaret, and part also were coming into the camp. Okay, so this is setting up the situation here. So the homines, I think, has to be the Roman soldiers who were going back and forth. So part of them were still out in the fields harvesting grain, right? And part of them were kept on coming back into the camp because they were bringing the grain, right? And by the way, vintitare is a frequentative form of venio venire. Venio venire, to come. Vento or ventito, those are frequentative forms with the to or the tito endings, and that means they did it frequently. Okay, so again, to the translation, when part of the people, meaning the Roman soldiers, were remaining in the fields, part also kept coming into the camp. Et qui pro portis castrorum in statione errant, those who, et qui, were on station, were on guard duty in statione, in front of the gates of the camp. Okay, so these would be the unit of soldiers who were out in front of the camp watching. Caesari nuntiaverunt, reported to Caesar, pulverem majorem quam consuetudo ferret, dust greater than custom would bear, custom would suggest, we might say in English, in ea parte videre, was seen in that direction, quam in partem, into which direction, legio iter fecisit, the legion had made its journey. Now here we're referring to the one legion that had gone out to get the grain, right? So they see a big dust cloud. The guards on duty in front of Caesar's camp see a big dust cloud coming from that direction. Caesar id quod errat suspicatus, And here we get Caesar knowing suspiciously about everything that happens, right? Caesar suspecting that which was, or having suspected that which was. That is to say, he suspected exactly what was actually the case. So Caesar he's just amazing that way. So Caesar having suspected that which was, and here we get what he's suspecting. Aliquid novi a barbaris initum consilii, that something of a plan, something of a new plan, novi consilii, had been begun in Nitum by the barbarians. Cohortes quae in stationibus errant secum in eam partem proficisci ex reliquis duas in stationem succedere reliquas armare et confestim se subsequi usit. Okay, so the main verb here, he ordered, usit, right at the end, and then we can go back to the cohortes. He ordered the cohortes, the cohorts, which were on, or were, let's say, which were at their posts in stationibus, they were at their stations. These would refer to the cohorts that were on active duty at the time. He ordered the cohorts which were at their posts to set out, proficisci, with him, secum, into that direction, or in that direction. He ordered two of the rest, duos ex reliquis, and of course that's two of the rest of the cohorts, to succeed to the post, that is to say, to take the position of those that were leaving. And the rest, reliquas, this is the rest of the cohorts, to be armed, amari, and immediately confessed him. There's another one of those I am adverbs. Immediately, right away, to follow him, subsequi sese. Okay, so he took the cohorts on duty with him. He took two more and put them on the new guard duty, and he told the rest of them, the other cohorts, to get ready and come after. Okay. Cum Paulo longius a castris procescit, when he had proceeded a little bit further from the camp, suos ob hostibus premi, atque aegre sustenere et conferta legione ex omnibus partibus tela coici animadvertit. He notices, animadvertit, his own men, suos, being pressed by the enemy. Notice premi is a passive infinitive, by the enemy, ob hostibus, and sustaining it ill, or ill sustaining it, ill withstanding it. Not as aegre means sickly, but ill meaning badly. They were badly withstanding it. That is to say, they were having a hard time withstanding the enemy assault, right? So, and badly withstanding it. And with the legion packed up, or densely packed, conferta legione, that's a sort of ablative absolute, were being pelted, or spears were being thrown at them, tela koiki. Notice that's another passive infinitive. Spears were being thrown from all sides, ex omnibus partibus. Now, big picture here, what Caesar noticed is that, hey, there's my legion I sent to get grain. They're being hard pressed by the enemy. They're having a hard time withstanding the attack. The legion is all packed together in the center, and the Brits are all surrounding them and throwing spears at them from every side, right? That's what he noticed. Okay. Note, by the way, we've got three of those infinitive clauses, so you got tricolon there with the primi clause, the sustenere clause, and the coici clause. Okay. Nam quod omni ex reliquis partibus demesso fruminto pars una erat reliqua, for because with all of the grain, omni frumento, having been reaped or harvested, demesso, from the remaining areas or parts or regions, ex reliquis partibus, one part, or only one part, pars una, was remaining. Okay, so basically this is what tipped off the Brits to attack them here, right? This was the only place the Romans had to collect grain from. Suspicitis suspicati hostes, the enemy having suspected, huc nostros esse venturos, that our guys would come to this place, noctu, at night, in silvis deletuerant, had hidden in the forests. Now, de litesco, to hide, that's from lateo, latere, the base verb that means to hide. We've had that before. Latent comes from that in English. Lateo, latere, to hide, to be hidden. Pateo, patere is the opposite of that, to be open or visible. So this is just a compound of that. So they had hidden, de lituerant, in the forest at night. So again here we see basically the enemy, the Brits, these Principes Britanniae, they, being smart leaders like Caesar, figured out the Romans were going to have to come here because they're getting the grain, they need the grain, and there's just one place near the camp left. So they hid and ambushed them. Okay, tum, then, dispersos depositis armis imitendo occupatos subito ad orti, then, having attacked, ad orti, notice is nominative plural with the long I ending. That's describing the Brits. Then, having attacked the Romans, which I'm understanding here, dispersed, dispersos, notice that's accusative plural, describing the Romans. Having attacked the Romans dispersed, with their arms set down, their weapons set down, depositis armis, occupied in reaping, occupatus in Metindo, all of a sudden, or suddenly, subito. Let's put it all together. Then they, meaning the Brits, having attacked, them, meaning the Romans, dispersed, with their arms set down and occupied in reaping, all of a sudden, paucis interfectis, with a few of them killed, and that's in reference to the Romans, reliquos incertis ordenibus perturbaverant, they had disturbed the rest of them in uncertain ranks. And this is referring to the fact that, of course, the Romans, being surprised, they're not in their regular positions in their cohorts, right? They're not marching beside their cohort mates, right? Simul equitatu atque essedis circum dederant. At once, or at the same time, had surrounded them with cavalry and with chariots. Remember that Essedum is the Gallic war chariot, so with these British war chariots here and with their cavalry. All right, and now we're going to go on to first little subsection of 33. So this will take us to proeliantur. Genus hoc est ex essedis pugnae. This is the sort or kind, we might also say the nature of their fighting from chariots. This is the nature of the fighting from chariots. Now, Essedum is one of these chariots, and Essedarius is a charioteer or a chariot fighter. Now, the reason that Caesar is about to describe how they fight from these Essida, these chariots, is because Romans didn't fight in chariots, and pretty much throughout the whole Mediterranean this had gone out of style about 1,000 years before. So Romans and Greeks and other people of the Mediterranean region really didn't know what chariot fighting was like. The Romans raced chariots, but they didn't use them in warfare. So this is the nature of fighting from chariots. Primo, first, per omnes partes per equitant, they ride around through all parts, that is to say, all over the place, we might say in English. Et tela coiciunt, and they toss or throw their spears. Atque ipso terrore equorum et strepitu rotarum, and by the very fear or fright of the horses and the noise of the wheels, all of that's an ablative of means. The terrore and the strepitu are the ablative of means there. By the very fright of their horses and by the noise of the wheels, ordines plerumque perturbant. They generally, plerumque, disturb the ranks. That is to say, they make the enemy troops freak out and lose their positions, right? Et cum se inter equitum turmas insinuaverunt, and when they have woven themselves in between the squads of cavalry or horsemen. Notice we get insinuate from this verb insinuo, insinuare. We use that in a metaphorical sense, but insinuo, insinuare in Latin, notice it's from the root of sinus, which is that word for a curve. In Virgil, we've seen it used for a curving inlet, a bay, or a gulf. It can be a toga pouch, right? The little curve or fold in your fabric. It's related to a sine curve in math, right? So anyhow, insinuerant, we're talking about bending or curving, kind of weaving in and out. So when they have woven themselves in between the turmos, the squads of cavalry, ex essides deciliunt, they leap down. Notice deciliunt is a compound of salio, salire, to jump. They jump down from the chariots, ex essides, and they do battle. Proeliantur is a deponent verb from proelium, that noun from that means battle. So proelior, proeliari, to fight in a battle. And they do battle. Pedibus, I would just say on foot. That would probably be best understood as an ablative of manner as to how they do battle. All right, well, I hope that made sense. And we're going to learn a little bit more about the charioteers fighting next time. Well, omnes.